In California, we've really been recently in a huge era of reform. And prior to the beginning of this era, California, like so many states, had been increasing incarceration levels pretty rapidly over time, really beginning in the early 1980s through the 90s, just really increasing the size of that prison population. And at the same time, what we saw were declining crime rates across the board. And now in California, crime rates are around the levels they were in the 1960s. And so, beginning around 2005, 2006, when our prison population was at the peak, there was a conversation about, whether we were over incarcerating. That conversation started to take place. And, we were asking questions, about what it means to incarcerate this large of a share of the population. What kind of cost effectiveness in terms of sort of the public safety return you're getting? And is it even positive at this level of incarceration? And so that those kinds of conversations fed into some early legislation. I think the best example is SB 678, which was some legislation to promote the use of evidence-based practice by local probation departments. And the idea there was to keep people in good standing with those probation departments to try to use program and service interventions to improve their outcomes and really to keep them from being revoked to prison to reduce that. And so through SB 678, there were some incentives created for counties. They received essentially a budget kickback for reducing the amount of individuals that ended up in the prison system. That really got the state thinking about what the incentives look like for local justice systems and how those incentives might be perverse when so many individuals were sent to prison for felony offenses and also revoked to prison after leaving. That was a big piece of the 2011 public safety realignment. So California had a massive reform, and it's called realignment because it essentially realigned a lot of individuals from the state prison system back down to the local justice systems. And it created funding for those local justice systems to pursue evidence-based practice. So really in keeping with the spirit of SB 678, which was in 2009, but in 2011, really expanding that to serve a much larger population. And that's really when we started to see the prison population come down in California.